I will begin with Requirement 1. The purpose of the Employees Social Security Act 1969. Fundamentally, this act is designed to uphold social justice. Its purpose is to create a mandatory social safety net that prevents Malaysian families from falling into poverty if a tragedy strikes. Instead of leaving workers to fend for themselves, the law enforces a system of social insurance. This means we pool resources together so that if an employee faces an injury, invalidity, or death, there is a guaranteed financial support for them and their dependents. Moving to Requirement 2. Who is covered? The definition of employee under Section 2, Subsection 5 is anyone employed under a contract of service for wages in the private sector. This is the general rule. To understand this, we must first look at who is excluded from the Act. First, permanent government servants are excluded because they are pensionable. Second, self-employed individuals and sole proprietors are also excluded from this specific Act. We look at who is specifically included. The law now explicitly covers foreign workers under the injury scheme and domestic workers like maids and drivers. Secondly, regarding the wage ceiling, as of October 2024, the contribution ceiling was raised to 6,000 ringgit. Also, remember the once in, always in principle. Even if your salary grows higher than this limit letter, you remain covered.
For this section, I will be discussing the employer's legal obligations under the Employees Social Security Act 1969, which is a key legislation governing social security protection for employees in Malaysia. This act places clear statutory duties on employers to ensure that employees are protected against employment-related risks. Firstly, employers are required to register both the company and their employees with SOCSO. This obligation arises as soon as an employer hires at least one employee who falls within the scope of the Act. Registration is essential because it enables employees to be covered under the Employment Injury Scheme and the Invalidity Scheme. Failure to register constitutes a breach of the Act and may result in legal penalties. Secondly, employers have a duty to contribute to the Social Security Scheme. Contributions must be made on a monthly basis at rates prescribed by law. Under the Act, the employer is responsible for paying the full contribution for the Employment Injury Scheme, while contributions to the Invalidity Scheme are shared between the employer and the employee. Timely payment of these contributions ensures continuity of coverage and access to benefits. Thirdly, employers are required to deduct the employee's monthly contribution from wages and remit it to SOCSO together with the employer's portion. It is important to note that the Act strictly prohibits employers from deducting the employer's share from the employee's salary. Any agreement that attempts to transfer this responsibility to the employee is considered invalid under the law. Next, employers must maintain and furnish accurate employment records. This includes records relating to wages, contributions, and employee particulars. These records must be properly kept and produced when requested by SOCSO officers. Proper records keeping supports transparency and facilitates the processing of benefit claims. In addition, employers have a duty to notify SOCSO of any employment injuries in the event of a workplace incident, occupational disease, or death arising out of employment. The employer must promptly report the incident. This ensures that affected employees or their dependents can receive benefits without unnecessary delay. Finally, employers are required to assist employees in claiming benefits under the Act. This includes providing relevant documents, confirming employment details, and cooperating with SOCSO during the claims process. Employers must not obstruct or discourage employees from exercising their statutory rights. In conclusion, the Employees Social Security Act 1969 imposes comprehensive legal obligations on employers to safeguard employees' welfare. Employer compliance is crucial to ensuring effective social security protection and upholding the objectives of the Act.
We begin with the Employment Injury Scheme. This scheme provides protection to employees who suffer from accident or occupational disease arising out of and in the course of employment. Its cover work accident, commuting accident, emergency accident, and occupational disease. One of the key benefits under this scheme is medical treatment. Employees who suffer from employment injury or occupational disease are entitled to free medical treatment at Perkeso Panel Clinic or government hospital until full recovery. If treatment is obtained at a private clinic, reimbursement for medical expenses may also be claimed. Next is the temporary disablement benefit. The benefit is provided to employees who are temporarily unable to work due to work-related injuries such as bone fractures. During the medical leave period, the employee will receive 80% of their average assumed daily wage. There is also the permanent disability benefit, which is given to employees who suffer permanent disability due to employment injury, for example, loss of eyesight or hearing. In addition, a constant attendance allowance is provided to employees who suffer total permanent disablement and require continuous personal care as certified by medical board. Perkeso also provide physical and vocational rehabilitation to help injured employees recover and return to work, with all costs fully borne by Perkeso. If an employee dies due to an employment injury, their dependents are entitled to dependent benefits amounting to 90% of the deceased employee's average assumed daily wage. A funeral benefit is 3,000 ringgit is also provided. Lastly, education benefit in the form of loan may be given to dependent children of the deceased employee. Now, I will move on the invalidity scheme. This scheme provides coverage for employees who suffer from invalidity or death due to causes not related to their employment. For those who do not qualify for the pension and invalidity grant, which is a lump sum payment, is provided. A constant attendance allowance of 500 per month is also given to severely incapacitated invalidity pension recipients who require continuous personal care. If an employee dies due to non-employment related causes before the age of 16, or if an invalidity pension recipient dies at any age, their dependents will receive a survivor pension. Additionally, physical or vocational rehabilitation and dialysis treatment are provided with all expenses fully borne by Perkeso. A funeral benefit of 3,000 ringgit is also payable upon death. Finally, education benefit in the form of loan may be provided to dependent children of insured person who died before the age of 16 or while receiving an invalidity pension.
In this section, I will present a comparison of Perkeso's compensation data for the years 2023 and 2024 to analyze the effectiveness of the Employee Social Security Act. In 2023, Perkeso disbursed RM2.12 billion in compensation to 290,640 members. These payments were made under the Employment Injury Scheme and the Invalidity Scheme, which providing financial support to workers that affected by workplace accident, disabilities, and loss of income. This reflects Perkeso's role in protecting employees, especially in the formal employment sector. While in 2024, Perkeso significantly increased its benefit disbursement, which a total of RM582 billion was paid to approximately 871,949 recipients that covering employment injury benefits, invalidity pensions, and survivors' pensions. Sharp increase indicates wider coverage, higher claim volumes, and stronger social protection mechanism. When comparing both years, we can see a clear increase in both the amount of compensation and the number of recipients from RM2.12 billion in 2023 to RM5.82 billion in 2024. This represents a significant growth in benefit distributions. This suggests improved accessibility, expanded coverage, or higher awareness among workers. This figure indicates the Employee Social Security Act is effective in achieving its main objective, which is to provide financial protection to workers facing employment-related risks. This increase also reflects Perkeso's ability to respond to rising workplace risks and account economic uncertainties. However, despite these positive outcomes, the data mainly reflect protection for formal sector employees as gig workers such as delivery riders and e-hailing drivers are often not automatically covered under the Act. Participation among self-employment individuals further increased their vulnerability, leaving many gig workers without adequate social security protections. In conclusion, the comparison between 2023 and 2024 shows that Perkeso compensation system has become more extensive and impactful. Nevertheless, to ensure long-term effectiveness and fairness, the law should be improved to include better protection for gig and non-traditional workers. Thank you.